morning, campers! Welcome back to Farm Simulator 2015. It is a brand new day on the farm, and we have 20 eggs to collect. Let's see how fast I can do this. Is that all of them? Yes, that was all of them. That was 20 eggs in like a minute flat. That was awesome. Alright, let's go ahead and drive over to the egg place and drop these off, and I will tell you what our plan for the day is. Alright, so as you can see, our canola field is nice and ripe, and they should be ready for harvest hopefully sometime during the day today. But first things first is I made enough money on the high demand wood chip thing that happened last night that I have enough money to buy, well, I have enough money to buy a piece of equipment, but it's not quite the piece of equipment I'd like. So we've got two options here actually, and I'll go into those after we deliver the eggs. But they're both mixers for the cow food, and switching from silage and grass to the mixed ration will improve the output of our cow field, and they will make more money every day. All right, so let's sell the eggs real quick. $228. Excellent. That's enough for 3 new chickens. Alright. Alright, so this is actually my third attempt at recording this episode. The first time I bought this thing, which is a trailer you have to pull behind a tractor to make the mixed ration, and then the second time I got this one instead. I just borrowed a little bit of money from the bank and picked this one out. This one's really cool because it, well, okay, they both have the same capacity, as far as I can tell. Actually, no, this one's a slightly larger capacity. Interesting. But this one's self-propelled, which is actually pretty damn useful. So I think we're actually going to go with this one. It's not that much more than what I have right now. It's just I don't... we're going to have to take out a loan in order to do this. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to max out my loan. I'm going to buy this thing, a field, and let me actually check and see if baling technology, that's going to be under that. Is that the wrapper? Yes. Okay. Can I afford that as well? Yeah, I can afford that. Alright, so let's hit an ATM first, and then we will start buying up all of the neat things that we need to get. Here we are at the store. Alright, so first things first, let's get the loan from the ATM. That will allow us to buy all these fancy things. We'll be paying this back over the course of the next week or so. Let's just max out the loan. We'll pay it all off at once after we've saved up enough money. 200? Yeah, okay. And then let's check out the store. Alright, so first things first, let's get the self-propelled feeder. The straw thing. The bale wrapper. And I need a wrapped bale handler and a manure fork. Okay, and that leaves us with $101,000. And we will also be buying a new field with that money. So I'm going to work on getting all of these lovely, lovely tools over to the cow pasture, and then we will come back and see what we can do with them. Let's see, can I drag any of these with this? Okay, I can drag that. Can I drag this as well? I can. Awesome. Okay. So I can a couple of these are going to be nice and easy. Okay, so not quite finished bringing all of my new tools down to the farm yet, but I just brought this one over. I want to show what it does. This is a manure fork. See, I don't necessarily need it. It's certainly not necessary for anything in the game. The bucket can do this job just as well, if not better, since it can hold more. But, as you can see, it's very good at picking up poo. It's actually the intended tool for that job. So you use the fork to pick up manure, and we're going to go ahead and top off the greenhouse while we're here. I already refilled the greenhouse's water tank once this morning while I was rearranging stuff down here. But we definitely need to add manure. So we've got 1,016 pounds of manure in this fork. It just felt weird to be handling both food and poop with the same fork. So I think having it separate is a good idea. Also, cool thing about the forks is they don't drop their load unless you open them up. So we are going to open it up and fill up the trough. Perfect. Let's make sure we got it all in there. Should be 1,000 some in that. Perfect. All right. Close up the fork and we can go put it away. But yeah, so no more using the same bucket for food and poop, because that just felt a little wrong. Definitely not hygienic for the cows. Sorry, cows. We've corrected that little issue. Alright, so one of the things I'm going to be doing with this massive influx of money we just got from our loans is purchasing this field right next to my cow pasture. In this field, we are going to completely cover over. We're going to unfield it. We're going to plant a bunch of grass here. And this is going to be the source of all of our cow food. At least the non-straw cow food. Okay, welcome back everybody. I just want to run you through a quick tour of everything that I've brought down to this farm for the moment. So everything you're going to see has been permanently relocated to this farm except for one tool, which we will get into a little bit later. So, first things first, we've got the self-propelled mixer wagon, which is going to be super useful. That is going to make the new foodstuffs for our cows. We've got this lovely thing, which is going to allow us to simply throw in straw bales, and then it will throw the straw into the pen with the cows. So we don't have to use the forage wagon for that anymore. We can just use the bales. Of course, this has always been here. I just moved it to a different shed since this is the water tank for the greenhouse. We're planning to get some more greenhouses before long, and that will be. I'm pretty much sure they're going to be all down here since this is where the poo comes from. We've got, of course, the telehandler. It's still here. It's got a couple of new toys. It's got this bale handler, which can pick up round bales, since as we discovered, unfortunately, in one of the failed attempts to record this episode, the bale spike is not that useful on the round bales. We've also got the manure fork, which I showed you already. Then in the other shed, come on, there we go. Of course, the pickup truck is not going to be staying down here. The pickup truck is just for transport. Also, it was able to pull like half the stuff down here, so that was awesome. That saved me a little bit of time. We've got the lawnmower is going to be residing down here from now on. We're also going to look into getting another attachment for that eventually. We've got the forage wagon, which is going to be staying down here and also not getting used nearly as much. This is pretty much only going to get used from now on for feeding the sheep. Though I guess, actually, now that I think about it, probably also when I have enough hay bales, I'll probably still be using the forage wagon for silage at the biogas plant. We've got the bale gatherer, which will be living down here. We'll be pulling this one up to the main farm anytime we need to harvest straw, but that's not going to be as often as we'll be using it down here for silage and hay. We've got the hay bale wrapper, which is, we're going to show you that later today, hopefully. This thing can wrap up bales of hay and make it ferment into silage, which is very cool and will mean we don't need to use the bunker thing over there anymore. And then we've also got the baler itself is now going to be living down here. Again, we'll be just taking this up to the main field whenever we need it. Also, I moved this guy down here. This is the our oldest tractor. This lovely thing is the AgroStar 6.61 from Dutzfar, and it served us very well at the main farm until we had to upgrade to a bigger model. But I did check the horsepower output, and none of the tools down here need the giant tractor, so this thing should do nicely, and it'll get a lot more use down here than it will at the cornfield. So we'll just be driving to the cornfield manually with the other tractor anytime we need to harvest or plant there. Speaking of harvesting and planting, we do have a little bit of planting we need to do. I took the remaining money from the loan we took out, and I purchased this field over here, and we are going to completely cover it with grass. And that is why these two now live down here. The windrower and the... what is that thing called again? I don't remember what that's called. But the windrower and the device that flips over the... turns the grass so that it dries out faster. It makes the grass into hay. This right here is the only tool that will not be living down here for good, because we only need to do this once. It's very, very cool. Once we go over this entire field once with this, we can just take it back up to the main farm, because it will be much more useful there. So we've already switched it into grass mode, and you'll notice when we do this, this is kind of the opposite of the plow. It takes a field that is normally being used for crops, and it turns it back into grass. Whereas the plow takes grass and turns it into a field you can grow crops on. So the cool thing about this is the grass will regrow every time you cut it, so you don't need to replant this ever. It just literally changes it into from a field to the same grass as is growing everywhere else. So this should be pretty cool. It seems to take a whole lot extra seed. So I don't know how long this will take me, but I will bring you all back in when I am finished. And we will attempt to, we will go ahead and feed the cows already. Nice and early in the morning. And we're back 15 or so minutes later, and I have finished making this entire field into grass. Not too bad, if I do say so myself. So this is going to be way, way easier to mow than any of the other places in the game. We're going to get a ton of grass out of this. So this is going to be pretty awesome, I think. This will definitely help our silage and our both the silage industry and our cows, because we definitely were not producing many hay bales before. It was just such a pain to collect those, but now it'll be nice and easy. And well, with any luck, we'll have some grass ready to cut before the end of the episode. In the meantime, it's time for me to show you how the new mixing machine works. So I've thanks to messing up this episode recording twice already, I've actually gotten to play around with both this one and the tractor-pulled version. Though I like the self-propelled one a little bit better. See, the cool thing about the self-propelled version is it has exactly the right capacity that you can fill it much, much easier and hit the right mixing ratio. So the way this thing works, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. You can see on... you can see the wooden wall is all you can see. But you can see on the left-hand side of the screen the mixing ratios that you need. So those are actually really, really helpful little gizmos that tell us exactly how much of each substance we need to make the proper mix of food. So you can be very careful and fill this thing with hay and straw, and then add silage until you have just the right mixture amount. But it just so happens that the tank on this thing is the perfect amount that you can simply add one bale of hay, one bale of straw, and then top it off with silage, and you'll have a perfect mixture, 33% of each, and that is all you need. Alright, so first things first, we're going to grab a bale of straw. We're going to try and be very, very careful about this, because I don't want to knock all these straw bales over, or we'll have to get a bale spike to pick them back up again. I think that's good. Oh, look at that. That was professional right there. Alright, we're going to move this over this. So the other cool thing about this tank is once you have the ability to make silage bales, which is what the bale wrapper is for, you can just throw one bale of each in there and you'll get the perfect mixture every time, which you can also do with the other mixer, but the self-propelled one's a little bit better if you're still making silage the old-fashioned way, which for the moment we are. And one hay bale. Is it actually going to hold on to that? Yeah, alright. Sure. That doesn't look like it should work, but okay. Okay. There we go. Alright, so that's 1 bale each of hay and straw in the mixer. Now we will jump in the mixer itself and drive it over here to the silage. Okay, so we're going to drop that down. We're also going to open the cover. I don't know if you need to do that, but it certainly looks cooler if you do. We're going to turn this thing on, and it's already filling our tank with silage. And there we are full. Let's lift that out. Cover the front of it again. Now let's go top off the cow tank. Just bump right over that. Yeah, careful, careful. Looking forward to getting out of that. Getting that out of the way. Alright, so now that we have everything mixed, you just want to pull alongside the feeding trough. Any of the feeding troughs will work. This one I just happen to like because it's already got the silage in it, so it's the right color. The other ones have grass, and I just don't want to mix the two. So you can pull up facing either direction, though I like to have the left side facing the trough because the right side doesn't have that extra bit of conveyor, whereas the left side does. So the animation just looks better. Because that folds out, and then all the food pours into there. Whereas on the other side, it just kind of falls out the side of the side of the mixer, and doesn't look very good because it kind of winds up clipping through the side of the trough. But this is much better, and it's actually going to take a couple of loads of this thing in order to completely fill up the feeding trough. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up a couple more batches of food, and then I will catch back up with you all after that. Alright, here's batch number 2. Oh, clipping through a cow there. Sorry, cow. Don't worry, your insides look fine. Okay, well, a little hollow. You should eat more. Face is buried in the food. Okay. Yeah, fine. And here we are with the last batch of food for today. This batch will actually last us quite a while, I suspect. We'll probably be feeding them out of this particular bowl of food for a good little while. Let's go ahead and top it off. And about half the bowl left. That will be that is full for 6 days. But as usual, we're going to be coming back and topping off their food pretty much daily. Let's go ahead and park this thing back in the shed over here. Alright, and then rather interestingly, this next thing we'll be doing, we'll be getting the pickup truck for. I think the tractor can do it as well, but we'll be using the pickup truck, I suspect, for this most often. It's just faster, and I like using the pickup truck when possible. Okay, so I haven't actually gotten to use this before, so I don't entirely know how it works. Let's open the door. Hopefully it'll work with the pickup truck on it. I don't see a spot to plug in power. Oh, yes I do. Yes I do, don't I? Alright, so this might need a tractor. We'll see. Let's try and fill it up first, and then we'll see if we need the tractor. Alright, so this little gizmo takes bales of straw and chops them back up into loose straw so that you can then spray it into the cow pen. I completely just whiffed on that. Get a better camera angle. And try it again. There we go. Alright, so I don't rightly know how to fill this thing. I presume you just stick a hay bale in the back. Let's try... Oh, it seems to be hitting it already. Can I just move it in there and let go? Does that work? Doesn't look like it's working. Well, it now says it's full, so I guess maybe it did work. Let's close the door. All right, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Oh, the bale has fallen the rest of the way in. Okay, let's see here. Where can I use this? Oh, there it goes. Unload. There we go. Okay. Alright, that was, apparently you can in fact do that with the truck. All you need to do is, just squeeze a hay bale into the back of the trailer somehow, and, the machine will do the rest. Alright, that seems to have worked. Let's leave that there. Hopefully the hay bale will still be in there when we get back. What do I need to do next? Alright, so that was all the cow stuff I had planned for today. We got the field replanted. Let's check and see if... as you can see, our cow's productivity is now at 100%, as much as possible. Oh, we've got a bunch of cloudy days coming up. I assume that means that crops will grow much slower. So our grass is already growing. Ooh, our canola field's are ready for harvest. So that's, I think, what we will do next. So let's get all this stuff put away. We're going to need to take this back up to the main farm, so let's go ahead and clean it off first. Alright, back in our nice beefy tractor here, and we're going to hook up these tippers and get out onto the fields here. So the way these two fields are set up, the easiest way to harvest them is lengthwise, like so. Now that they are giant, massive fields that are all one thing. So we're actually going to be leaving the tippers down at this end. Hopefully we won't fill up both of them. If so, we might spend some of our hard-earned money on a third trailer for this set. We will see. Let's go ahead and open the cover on both. Alright, time for me to get started on harvesting this field. I don't know how long this will take me, so I will bring you all back in either at the end of this field or at the end of both, depending on how things shape up. I'm assuming this is going to take me a good little while, so I've got a podcast ready to go, and I will see you all shortly. First, I do need to unfold it. That would help. Onward! And there we go. That's the last of the second field. Let's go ahead and drop this off in the tippers. Get those over to the silo and see how much of that canola we now have. That should have been quite a lot. I mean, we filled up the harvester many times there, it felt like. So we should be pretty darn close to having enough for that mission if we aren't over that already. Come on, fill it up. There you go. Alright, let's see how much we've got in the silo. There There we go. Alright, 83,388 tons. That is just enough, so we're going to go ahead, fill both of these back up, and start delivering it out to the site. Get that mission accomplished and see what we can't buy with that money. Alright, here is our destination. Here's load number 1. We started out about 20 grand, so we'll see where we stop. That's more than 20 grand per load. That's awesome. That's about 25,000 for each load. There we go, already up to 70. Let's go back for the last batch. Here we are, back with load number 2, or I guess 3 and 4, depending on how you count this. Not quite a full load this time. Turns out we only had enough to just barely come close to fully loading both of these for 2 trips. Let's see if we don't pop that mission complete thing on this second cart. Second set of carts, anyway. Alright, here we go. This should be it. There we go. Alright, so this is apparently using tons as 1,000 pounds and not 2,000. So, logic. That's alright, we just picked up an extra 10k from that. And we'll see if that's not enough for a brand new harvester when we get back up to the house. And we are back to the main farm. Let's go ahead and park these things up. They don't look like they got dirty at all there, so we're just going to skip washing these two for now. Let's go ahead and get them parked up. We'll be able to clean them up if we use them again. So that's going to mean that future plantings on this field will be putting grains back down, at least wheat or barley, probably barley, because we don't have any barley saved up and that keeps being in high demand. So I think we'll do at least 1 field of barley, maybe both. Also, I could use the straw, since we've got our cow stuff going. Let's check on the prices for harvesters while I've got that on my mind. Wow, these are expensive. Could use that. Sort of, I think. Alright, I vote we go for the axial flow 7130. Then we can save up for the 1090. So let's go for 235 plus 54 and 49. So we need like 400,000. God. All right. It'll be a while. It will be a while. And we could always go into potato harvesting. Nope, no we can't. Alright. Well, I think it's safe to say we'll be sticking with what we've got for now. That's all pretty expensive stuff. But hey, we've got goals, and we're going to go towards them. Alright, so pretty much none of this field has grown whatsoever, so we're not going to be cutting grass today, it looks like, which is alright. I've been recording long enough. But I do want to show you one of the other toys we bought before I call this episode to a close. So we're going to grab a hay bale. Remember, this is dried grass rather than straw, which is just out the back of the harvester. That was an interesting little thing that happened there. That twitched. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this up in front of our tractor here. We're going to kind of tilt it so that it hopefully lands sideways. No. Alright, well, we'll just back out of the way and see if we can't do it with that. Typically when you do this, you'll just be picking them up right off of the ground after you've made the bales in the first place. Let's see if we can't do it from here. Shoop! There we go. Game got a little confused there. And it's going to wrap up the bale. Luckily, the saran wrap costs nothing. And once it's done, you just unload. And now you have a lovely bale of what will become silage. I have no idea how long this takes, so we'll be finding that out together. This will be our tester, I think. Remember, this is 10:15 on day, what, 9 or 10? I think we are now? I forget. They're kind of all blended together. We'll just leave that here. We'll keep an eye on it, check in on it from day to day, see how far along it is. Try and keep them in separate batches as I make them, so that they, all the ones that are ready at the same time. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me. Let's go ahead and take care of our sheep before we head out. And to do that, we will need to cut a little bit of grass. Not too much, just a tiny bit. And we'll also be bringing the forklift up there to deliver a pallet of wool. Here we are, just in time to feed my sheepy peoples. Let's go ahead and fast forward the time up to sunset so that our sheepy peoples are getting all the food we can. Actually, no, I think I'm going to start feeding them in the morning and just picking up the wool at night. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill up the food trough now. Wow, that was even less than I expected them to use. That's impressive. Then we'll run back to the other farm and then fast forward time on the trip back with the forklift. Here we are at the sheep paddock. 7 p.m. in game time. Let's go ahead and grab the wool. That was just a perfect trip. Exactly the right amount of time. Almost like I planned it. Still not producing an entire pallet of wool every day. Actually, let's check and see how much this is. That's 37%, so got a ways to go on the sheep, but we're making progress. And just like that, we've arrived at the seamstress's house. Let's see how much she wants for our wool. $17.94, so 5. We'll make it 6 new sheep. I can throw $6 onto that pile. 6 brand new sheep. Let's go ahead and buy those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, perfect. That's going to do it for me today. I'm going to go put this away, wash up the last of my equipment, and call it a night. Back at the farm. Got a lovely sunset out there. Some grimy vehicles here. We're going to solve at least one of those problems. Not that the sunset is a problem, but you know, sunset means it's the end of my day in the game. End of the episode. Got a lot done today. Harvested a couple fields, bought some cow stuff. I think the cow stuff's actually really fun. It's much more in-depth than I was expecting in the game that I assumed was going to be about growing plants. So that's definitely a nice little change of pace, I think, from the typical growing stuff. And I'm looking forward to getting a lot more grass stuff going down there. We will eventually need to buy a bigger tractor for that field, so that we can run one of the bigger mowers. But, yeah, that's still a good ways down the line. Might just buy one of the big honkin' harvesters that you use to cut corn, because that's got a mowing attachment you can buy. Oops. A little too far from the washer. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. I've got a couple more things to put away, but that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you all tune in next week for another episode of Train Simulator, and 2 weeks from now for the next day in Farm Simulator. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day. How'd that happen? I just flew off the end of my pallet fork. Alright. Nobody saw that. Just edit that out. No one will be the wiser. Unless I do something stupid like putting it after the credits.